Hi, I'm Jade Terrio, and this is the Experiment Podcast. A podcast, a space, a container where we give soul to practical concepts and we give legs and feet to spiritual concepts. Basically, the intersection between spirituality and logic, between data and intuition, and this in-between space where we have one hand in the practical, the other hand in the spiritual, and we are grounded yet magical. Welcome to the fun. This podcast is my own documenting process of how I am interacting and experimenting with practical and spiritual concepts in my own life, all with the underlying goal or purpose to live a more joyful and aligned and just exciting life. And I don't think that that is a calling for everyone, or maybe it is, but for me, that internal calling to stay connected and live from a place of joy is this ever-evolving animal, and it's an ever-changing process. And this podcast is my way of sharing valuable resources that are working or not working for me, powerful concepts that have shifted my own perspective. And this is my way of connecting you to the things that work and the things that don't work from my own experience and my own life and my own lab. I'm just as human as the next girl. I am a deep feeler, a deep thinker, and this whole world of spirituality and personal development is so interesting to me. And I feel like I thrive here. I feel like I thrive in this space where I am playing in this and digging my teeth and my hands into it. And that's a big part of why I am doing this podcast. It's been a while since I've recorded, and that's not lost on me, but I think it's so important to remember that the cool thing about this space is I get to make my own rules, and my level of authenticity, I think, will drive results. And like I said, I am absolutely an ever-evolving beast. And when I am expanding and stretching and really deeply evolving outwardly, it's very easy for me to get in front of a camera and get in front of the mic and say, here's what's up. But the flip side of that is when I am contracting and when I am feeling that nervous system overwhelm and I am needing to retreat, I'm going to have to retreat, and I can't record and I can't sit in front of a camera. And what I'm going to try to do, but no promises, is get a little bit ahead on recording where if I go through a phase of needing to retreat, I can. But this season of my life feels like it's moving so quickly, and I have so much happening. I am transitioning into a new role in my corporate job because your girl got to make money and got to pay bills. And I love my job. I love my corporate job. I love that I have these very tangible skills that I get to contribute to a continuously improving organization. And I get a lot of fulfillment out of that. It doesn't satisfy my creativity and personal development aspect, but it really does satisfy that logical, analytical version part of me. But I'm transitioning and learning this new position, and it is not at all what I applied for or anticipated, and not because of, my bosses or anything. It's just the nature of this group is it's ever changing. And we all walked into this new group, and it had fallen apart before it even started, with some of us losing some valuable key players that had moved on to other positions. And yeah, so I was brought in to fulfill a role, and then was asked to backfill another role. And it's been a lot of transitioning, and it's been a lot. And I'm a mama. I've got an almost 2-year-old, and she keeps me on my toes, and it's running, running, running. And then I've got a house that, has to be cleaned, and there's laundry and dishes. And then somewhere in the midst of like the job, the baby, the house, the partner, there's got to be room and space for Jade. And I am sorry for, not being consistent with the recording. And that's like a goal of mine, is to become more consistent and more disciplined. It's genuinely something I'm experimenting with my own life. A lot of it is a struggle, I think, I think something within my body is happening. And I also think there are some energetic blocks that I am learning to navigate. And I just wanted to be transparent with that and get that all out on the table. The focus of today's episode is kind of veering into a different direction, which is the utter importance of community. I have this tendency, like I said, to kind of retreat, and I isolate. I very much do my best processing of my emotions and my experience through isolating myself and internally processing with myself. Now, I've kind of created this adverse habit where I do that, and I have no balance between community and a social life and this isolation. And today's episode is exciting because I am in the throes of launching a community aspect of this that is going to be called the social experiment. I don't have a solid hard date yet, but it'll be within the next coming months. I'm going to start planning a couple of little gatherings in the coming weeks. Just very low-key activities, low-key events where we can sit in a space, in a container with like-minded women and have real conversations and support each other, and also maybe have fun, and also maybe cry a little bit together. It's important to me to build these spaces and for us all to get back to village. I've spent the majority of my life longing for sisterhood, longing for community, and longing for village. And I have had glimpses of it. In high school, I had a great little group of girlfriends, but for some reason, I just never felt like I fit in. I never felt like I belonged. I always felt like if I were to show the fullness of me, that I would be judged or rejected, or just would feel like it would further exacerbate the truth, or this limited belief in me that I'm deficient and inadequate and I don't deserve love. And so I just avoided it. I just tucked the bigness in me away as much as I could. The weirdness still kind of seeped out, but I filtered myself through the lens of what I thought people wanted to see. And so my connections were never as strong and solid and vulnerable and real as I have longed for. There were, some friendships where went deeper and more vulnerable than others, and those were great friendships, but they quickly faded, quickly fell apart, and we outgrew each other. And then in college, I had a major identity crisis and was so lost within myself that it just felt like, and also college is that time where like, it also felt like everybody else was really lost. And I just didn't quite know how to connect with other women. And then after college, I got a job and I moved to West Virginia right before COVID shut the world down, and then spent 2.5 years locked in my house in Charleston, West Virginia, knowing absolutely no one and literally being isolated from the world. And I think it also instilled in me this just like hyper independence and maybe a struggle with just like my own social skills and my confidence. And now, I've been living in Louisiana again for a few years, and there's a great community here, but it's like I kind of pop in and then I pop out and everyone's so busy and it just is not regular. Like there's not a regular frequency of meeting, and the conversations that I'm longing for are not being led and had. And I just want a dedicated space for this growth that I'm enduring, and for me to be able to hold space for other women who are on parallel journeys, because I feel like I thrive holding space for other women who are on the same journey, who are like, okay, we've got all this shit. Let's do something about it. Let's work through this. Let's step into higher, like even more badass versions of ourselves. Like let's become more of ourselves. And the biggest version of that community, the biggest iteration of that community I have ever had was a few years ago when I was living in Charleston. I joined this women's group. A friend of mine at the time, she was out of Nashville, Tennessee, was leading it. It was an immersion group, and it was like a handful of women, and each month we would meet, and she would sometimes have speakers, and it was fantastic. It was so beautiful. It was such a cool space, and I loved it. And she did a retreat a couple of years later following that, and I went, and it was not it for me. No shade to her at all. It just felt like there was maybe some misrepresented intentions and why she's doing the spiritual work that she was quote unquote doing. And, I want to create a vulnerable space where we can talk about our pain and we can talk about our trauma and we can alchemize that into medicine and into healing. But I want to do it in a way that is so trauma informed and is so safe to do that. And am I going to do it perfectly? Probably not. I don't think anyone does. But I don't feel like there was enough attention paid to that and to the actual needs and opinions and experiences of the women within the group at the time. And it left me feeling kind of heartbroken. That person and I no longer speak. It was a very dramatic falling out because I was very honest about my experience, which maybe I was too honest and too harsh. And, I'm just a human. But it's one of those things, like when you're going to be in this space, you have to be accountable for the impact that you have on others. And that is something that I feel like I am ready for. And I also feel like I know what I have to offer. And what I have to offer is not for everybody. It's a very tough love, realistic perspective with a tinge of magic, a tinge of practicality, and a tinge of unconditional love. Like I am going to love you through it, and we're going to get to the next phase of this. I just need to know that if you are going to be in this space with me, if you're going to be in this arena, we are making the conscious decision every single day to show up and to live our lives and to love one another and to connect with ourselves and to try to just be 1% more connected to ourselves and to the world around us than we were yesterday. And so, yeah, I'm pumped. This group is going to be centered around belonging and accountability and how we can step into the highest versions of ourselves and let ourselves be witnessed. How can we step into us? How can we remember ourselves in a space with other women who are remembering themselves, and it's safe? We are being witnessed. We are being held. We're being able to watch other women alchemize and learn from their experiences and teach other women from our experiences. That is what I'm longing for. And that is what I intend to offer with the social experiment. It is a place where we will dive deep constantly, all of the time, but also come back up to the surface, have a breath of air, a breath of air, and also tend to ourselves and tend to each other. So I'm excited about this. I think it's going to be huge. I think it's going to be satisfying and yummy and fulfilling for the people who are truly looking for this and longing for this type of community. It's not going to be for everyone. This isn't going to be just your normal girl group where we gossip and there's drama. I mean, we're women and we all are humans and there is drama, that exists. But I don't want gossip. I don't want the negativity. I want us to foster truth and realness and support. And that's my goal. If any of this interests you at all, stay tuned and be on the lookout for all of the social experiment updates. It's going to be fun and expansive, and I want it to grow into something magical for all of us. That's all I have for today. I just wanted this episode to be about the social experiment and really and truly just reiterate the importance of healing and growing and developing and expanding in community space. I honestly can't say it enough. It's critical to our survival. And that's why, as one of the cruelest forms of punishment is isolation. We as humans are not meant to be alone. We are meant to work together and to connect with each other. And in the social media age, sometimes it's hard to do that in person. And the social experiment will have virtual events as well as in person in Lafayette, Louisiana and surrounding areas. But I want this to be to bridge that gap between the loneliness and the isolation to true community and connection. We're all so deserving of that. We all are so deserving of sisterhood and best friends and someone we can call and say, hey, I'm having this issue and could use some guidance. And that's what I want this to be, like a one-stop shop where we all connect each other to our resources. It's a network of powerful, badass women who are on the conscious path, but also not spiritual bypassing, not pretending like we also don't have these human responsibilities. We all have to pay bills. We all have to take care of our bodies. We all have to take care of our children and show up for our partners and be decent humans. And those are very real responsibilities and obligations we have. We live a very dual existence. And that's what this podcast is about. That's what the entire mission of the experiment is about, is this duality and playing in that space. But it's also how can we truly, deeply live a more satisfying and fulfilling life? And I think one of the number one keys to that is community. It's having someone else look you in the eyes and say, I see you. I see your pain. I see exactly what you are experiencing. I might not totally understand it. I might not totally be able to feel it because I've never been through that. But I see you, and I see your pain, and I'm here for you. And the flip side of that is, how incredible would it be for this to go in the direction that I'm very clearly seeing it, and having that same experience, but it's a woman looking you in the eyes and saying, I see you. I see the joy in your eyes. I see the love in your eyes. Let's go have more fun. Let's go find more joy. Let's go create. Let's go dance. Let's go find an ocean and swim in an ocean. This is the start of something so potent. But I am intentionally calling in women who want to be led, but also want to lead. This is for women who want to live beautiful lives and who are willing to put in the work to create that beautiful life. Because at the end of the day, we are responsible for our own lives. This is just a space to be supported and co-create. And also to have some sisterhood to bask in the glory of life together. So, stay tuned for the social experiment. Stay in the loop. You can follow our Instagram at the Experiment Pod with Jade. And YouTube is the Experiment Pod with Jade. I don't think that's right. Let me see. Yeah. Okay. It is. I forgot my own YouTube handle. What is going on with my brain? Yeah. The Experiment Pod with Jade. And then I think Instagram is just the Experiment Pod. Let me double check. I'm just trying to be more real with you guys, where this is who I am. Instagram is Experiment Pod with Jade. So follow it, like and subscribe to the YouTube channel, and know that I'm super pumped for this and I love you. And coming episodes are probably going to have a little bit of a different cadence. I have been deeply, deeply studying the Law of One, and it's something I've been studying for years now, actually. I just finished the first volume of audiobooks, and it's like 16 hours, and it is dense and grueling and kind of intense, and definitely not meant for everyone to read. But I would like to translate some of what I'm learning into this and transmute that, because I believe that it is really the message and the foundations of the universe, some answers to questions that we're all longing for. So yeah, I'm pumped about this. I'm excited, and I love you all. I cannot wait to see where we go together.